Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, the business spotlight is on, and this is Scott McMeans with Action Coach SBL. I am pleased to have Veronica Blue from Phenomenal Foods Co. She is going to tell us her story. She's going to tell us about her success and tell us any little nuances about Phenomenal Foods that you may not already know. So, Veronica, with that, I'm going to turn it to you. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Wonderful. Well, Scott, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure just to kind of get together with a business pro and just kind of talk business. So I appreciate being here with you and having access to your audience. To give you a little bit of information about me, Phenomenal Foods Company. Well, this company started pretty naturally and organically based on my own personal experience. I had some health issues years ago. They started in 2006, lasted for about 10 years. And those issues are becoming more and more prevalent, I think, with the general public. So I dealt with chronic fatigue for a long time, 10 years, didn't know why, what it was coming from. And that led me to kind of figure out if maybe it was my diet. Saw countless doctors. Everyone told me that I was perfectly healthy. Of course, when your body is telling you something different. Eventually, I did find a holistic doctor that was able to kind of confirm some of my suspicions. And what I did was to drop carbs from my diet, kind of on a whim in 2015. And this to backtrack, actually, this was before I connected with that doctor. So my thinking then was maybe if I lose a little bit of weight, this tiredness and this fatigue, well, that's the answer to everything, right? Maybe if I lose a few pounds, I'll feel better. So I dropped the carbs and it actually worked. I ended up feeling better than literally I ever could remember feeling in my life. People talk about your 20s, but I blew the 20s out of the water. I had amazing energy. And what comes with a lifestyle change like that is learning about new ingredients and learning about new ways to cook. And so that was my process. On a very random day, I was making some low carb vegan cookies, and I happened to taste an ingredient in this recipe that instantly reminded me of cream of wheat, which just happened to be my favorite hot cereal growing up. Now, at this time, if you're low carb, and keto was not keto then, right? So I didn't know that it was keto that I was doing, but I had not had hot cereal in years. And so when I had that taste and it hit me, it was like, wow, if I play with this, I might have something. And that's what I did. So really, it was just something that I created at home for myself. I would have it a couple times a week for breakfast. And as time went on and keto became more and more popular, I knew that, there was just no way I was the only person missing hot cereal. So total newcomer to the food industry, and it just so happens that where I am here in Cleveland, we have a thriving food founder community. I did not know that, but what that meant for me was that there were lots and lots of opportunities for me to learn. And so that's what I did. There were classes that I took locally that kind of gave me a good foundation for continuing with my own self-education on what I like to call Google University. And I've learned so much with Google, let me tell you. But yeah, so that's what I did. I set out to learn everything that I could about the food industry, how to get a product from your home to market, and spent about a year and a half in product development and developing the brand, and took it live on Amazon in September of 2021. And, kind of the rest is history. It was embraced really enthusiastically on Amazon, which was really affirming, right? When you feel that you have something and you put it out there and it's accepted by the world, very affirming. So clearly I was not the only one who was missing hot cereal, but it's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but that's really the story behind the brand. It was truly just a natural progression. So yeah.
Well, I love the idea of dropping carbs to building this business. It's an interesting place to start because you started with yourself and identifying an issue, and it's, I hate to use this word, so please forgive me. It's phenomenal to see where you've gone with it. Right, it's too easy. It's too easy to say.
Right.
Right? So taking us through that journey was very helpful. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
I'm curious, is there something more than the niche that you have that's allowed you to grow so successfully? Because as you said, there's more than just you that has the interest in this diet. But what else is it about Phenomenal Foods and what you bring to the table that is so attractive to people on Amazon or any other outlet they can find you?
It's interesting. So this is my third career. My first career was 15 years in B2B sales with Marriott, primarily Marriott. My second career in 2015, literally the same year that I dropped Carbs, I went back to school and got a master's degree in digital marketing. From there,
Oh, wow.
I went and managed SEO for Things Remembered, which is located here in Cleveland, their headquarters, and spent some time at the director level and a few agencies here in the local area. So all of those experiences, I'm just so grateful for all of them because I'm able to draw on everything that I've learned in career number one and career number two,
Yeah.
to fuel career number three. So, I think I've been able to put together, not only from a professional standpoint, but as a consumer. I am the company's target consumer. And so it's been great to kind of marry the skill set with what I know about the journey of the consumer we're trying to help, to present the product and the brand in the marketplace in a way that will capture their attention and give them the message that, okay, I found something that really might solve my problem. And that's the ultimate goal. Having been down this road of these mystery illnesses, which has become all too common now in modern society. I truly want to help those people that, at this stage, they probably know that they need to maintain a certain type of diet, but then the problem becomes, how do I do that? What are my options, and how can I do it without completely turning my life upside down? Like, can I make it easy for someone? And that's really the goal. The company's mission is to make life a little simpler and a lot more delicious by providing them with foods that they can trust. Simple.
Did you just say make life simple and more delicious?
Yes.
That is a phenomenal tagline. Phenomenal tagline. I love it.
Thank you.
That's really good. Walk me through a little bit about Veronica's home life versus Veronica's work life. How do you balance those things, knowing CEO, founder, third career? Like, how do you balance those things?
It's, the line is blurry, and I think a lot of founders would agree that you really do become skilled in figuring out how to bring more clarity to that line between work and personal. I'm always working, and I'm okay with that, but I think with that, you have to know when to step back, and feed your personal self so that your professional self can thrive. And to be quite honest, that was the journey that I was on before this ever came about. That was the journey that I was learning about as I encountered chronic fatigue for the first time. So I'm probably a little bit more skilled in figuring that out than I'd like to be, but at the same time, you have to know when to when to not cross that line, right? Not cross the line into to quite literally burnout. So All of those things really play together when it comes to my motivation for starting the company and then actually operating the company. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think one line that you said, in addition to the line being blurred, is finding clarity in both the personal and professional and knowing when to step back so the other one can thrive.
Yeah.
That is a learned skill, I would assume, because not too many people understand the importance of paying attention to what needs to be paid attention to at the right time. Certain things don't need to be paid attention to when you get distracted. It's focus on that, and that's a really good balancing point. So kudos to you, because it's not a very easily learned skill.
Yeah.
You work, you have you have a company with a lot of opportunity, a lot of moving parts, and there's different people that work for you or work with you. So Veronica, how is it that you work with contractors in such a way that it makes you feel good about their representation or their participation in Phenomenal Foods?
Sure.
How would you walk me through that?
You know, I have to go back and reference my previous professional experiences and knowing that a lot of what I need assistance with now, marketing, and things of that nature, I've been fortunate to work in those spaces in the past. So I'm able to, I feel that I know what I'm looking for when it comes to a web designer or a paid ads manager or something like that. What I have had to learn a little bit more about is what I'm looking for in an accountant. And accounting, it's interesting, you know, my CPA is a perfect example of what you need in someone in an e-commerce business. Accounting is no longer, you know, pencil and paper, general ledger, you know, credits and debits. It's literally in the e-commerce space anyway, you need to have a certain level of understanding of the tech stack in the background, how to bring all the data from the business and marry it with the data that goes along with your retail partners, for example, your inventory management, all of these things that play together. So for me, when I'm and that's just one example. So when I'm interviewing contractors to work with me, I'm really looking to find out what their general knowledge is in their area of expertise. I need people who know more than I do. And to be quite honest, as the business grows, you know, you can bring the business to a certain point, but you know, at that point when you need to scale beyond, I guess, the things that you have had experience in, you need someone to come in and tell you what it is that you need to know. So I'm looking for people who have no problem with me asking questions. I ask questions, you know, and I need the people that can answer those questions. You know, people who are collaborative, which is awesome. I'm always excited when I find someone who has just as much passion or at least belief in this business as I do, because that tells me that that person will work with me as a partner, right? And it won't be a situation where I am asking for or barking out requests, but rather that person is coming to me proactively and saying, hey, Veronica, have you thought about this? That's what I really, really, really value. And I've been fortunate to come across several of those. Is every engagement perfect? No. But, you know, that's part of the entire learning journey when it comes to running a business. And as you have those imperfect experiences, you can then figure out, okay, well, maybe next time I need to look for someone who can do a better job in this area, or maybe next time I can do a better job in a certain area to make the relationship work.
Yeah, one of the comments that you made is, it's great to know what you know. It's even better to know what you don't know. And those are the people you go talk to, right? And through that process, you learn about how you can fill in the gaps for yourself so you don't have to rely on somebody, but now you have a collaborative resource. So
Yeah.
I like the idea of the way you work with these folks, because not only are you building yourself, but you're allowing people to contribute, and therefore they learn as well. So this is a really nice cohesive piece for you.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's the goal, right? The goal is to bring people on who can, you want to work smarter, right? There's no way
Yeah.
that one person can do everything in the business. So as you add people to your organization, you want people who can bring their creative thoughts and um, whatever the problem solving ideas are that they have. Maybe you simply don't have the time to think about those things. There's just no way. So when you bring someone on who is focused in a different area of expertise, there's a whole other set of thoughts and processes that goes along with that. And how awesome is it to bring that person in and they bring their creativity with them? So absolutely.
yeah, I love that idea, and it's a really good connection to the next question. Because not too many people understand all the behind the scenes things that go on in, let's just say, a retail store for one, but you're running a retail store online. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things going on. So as Veronica, the CEO of this phenomenal foods company, what's the biggest misconception people have about business ownership, in particular to the e-commerce business that you do?
I think that the biggest misconception is probably that an e-commerce business is a set it and forget it business. It is anything but set it and forget it. I would argue a brick and mortar store is probably more set and forget than an e-commerce store. It really does require that you as the business owner have at least a certain level of understanding about how e-commerce works, how a website works, how the internet works, how search works, how are people going to find you? There are so many things that you really have to be mindful of. And like you said, a great segue, if you don't know those things, you have to bring in someone who does. So,
Yeah.
you do need a team of people behind you who can, when you're ready to run that 15% off sale, if you don't know how to create that coupon, call them up. Can you create a coupon? And this is what I wanted to do. At least be able to tell them how the experience should be for the consumer or the site user, and then rely on that person's expertise to make it happen. But e-commerce there's a huge opportunity right now, and it's not going anywhere behind e-commerce. And it's honestly it's interesting. I've had people ask me why I started the company online as opposed to in brick and mortar establishments. And really that for me, it just was kind of a second nature decision. With my digital background, that was just the first place that it wouldn't have been natural for me to say, hey, I'm going to just go and take these products to a store. It's in my mind easier to find my customer online than it is to wait for them to happen past the store the one store where I happen to have my products. So anything but set it and forget it. But there's such a huge opportunity for strategy, for marketing, for figuring out how to find your target customer online. It's exciting to me. I'm a little bit of a marketing nerd. I've always been excited about meeting your target user, your target customer in the right place at the right time with the right message, with the right product. And there are just so many very cool pieces that go into that when it comes to e-commerce. So it's a lot of fun to me.
Brilliant answer. Thank you for that. And I thought the first thing you were going to say is the fast pace of e-commerce. You can't set it and forget it. But you went through such a more detailed view of why that is. But the answer is, in very simple terms, you can't just set it and forget it because it changes so fast, because there's so many, and I wrote so many moving parts, gaps to fill, that you have to be on your toes. That's a fantastic way to look at your business.
Yeah.
Before we close out here, I have two more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
What would you give as advice to the 18-year-old Veronica?
Such a great question. Let's see. So at 18 years old, it's interesting because now, as a parent of a child, she's not a child anymore, but a young adult who has finished college and been through that 18-year stage, I've been able to, because this is a question I think that a lot of us think about, right? That's such a pivotal point in our lives. We're leaving childhood behind and we're figuring out, if we can, what it is that we want to do. And then we're going and doing it. I would tell the 18-year-old Veronica that you can do whatever it is you decide to do, but don't waste time doing it. One thing that, so it's interesting. I remember as a kid, we used to get Ebony magazine in any African-American household, at least in the 80s in America. There was that Ebony magazine on the coffee table. And this particular issue had a woman in a red power suit, and she was an executive with Coca-Cola in marketing. And I don't know, that image always stuck with me. And so I always knew that I wanted to run a company. I didn't think it would be my own company. I just always wanted to have an important position in someone's company. So to 18-year-old Veronica, I would say the journey might not look the way you expect it to look. So, be ready for those twists and turns, because, the route to success is definitely not point A to point B. It's a zigzagging line. It's full of challenges, but be ready for those challenges. Understand that those challenges are not problems. They're an opportunity to solve a problem. So many things, that the 18-year-olds of today and yesterday need to know. But at the end of the day, it's your own journey, right? Yeah. And it's not going to look like anybody else's journey. And you just got to roll with the punches.
Oh, okay. I love it. That's fantastic. Last question. Okay. Now that you are successful, you have this business, everything's going well. If you were to give advice to somebody just starting out their own entrepreneurial journey, what would be the advice you'd give?
I would tell that person to examine their reasons for wanting to be in business for themselves. What's their why? That's the way that question or that concept is usually created, right? What is your why? And understand that it's not easy. I think in today's business world with social media and all these things, there's some people that would portray the entrepreneurial life as this glamorous thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. It requires a lot of focus. It requires multitasking, which we as humans are not naturally suited to do. And it requires thick skin. It requires resourcefulness. Yeah. There's so many things that you need to be prepared for. So I would just say examine your reasons and whether you can commit to that for the long term, because it's a long journey. And you're going to have to develop some new skills and make those skills productive for yourself and your business. So,
outstanding. Yeah. Veronica, thank you for your time. That was exceptional. Everybody get a chance to take a look at any episode on the Business Spotlight. But for now, we're going to say thank you, Veronica, for a wonderful conversation. And we'll see you all next time.